First Nations TV, your news first.
The 19th of February 1942 is a day etched into the cold, hard palette of our nation's recent history. It's the day the war came to Australia. Just weeks after the brutal Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, the might of their fleet massed to the northwest of Darwin, and at 9:58 a.m. on February 19, 188 warplanes unleashed hell. To commemorate the 81st anniversary of the bombing of Darwin, more than 3,000 people converged on the cenotaph to acknowledge not only the sad loss of life, but also Darwin's incredible resilience. Along with memorial speeches, there were poignant displays of the bravery that kept Darwin standing firm.
Today, 81 years ago, the Second World War reached Australia's shores. On 19 February 1942, Darwin came under attack by Japanese forces. The largest and most devastating modern attack by a foreign power on mainland Australia followed.
I acknowledge the two surviving veterans of February 19th, 1942, Baz Eastdale and Brian Winspear.
I watched the planes above. The sun glinted off the bombs. It was just like confetti coming down.
To be able to join the community, to be able to join our Navy colleagues, and I noticed that HMAS Maryborough was out in the harbour as well, the two F-35s from number 75 Squadron and a large contingent of the Army based here in Darwin. Real honour to be here, but it's important on days like this that we stop and we pause and we reflect as part of the community so that we don't lose those lessons of our history.
We've just had this tremendous ceremony with the reenactment performed by our Australian Defence Force personnel to bring home 81 years later the gravity of that attack for the personnel involved, for the civilians in the Darwin community, but for our country as well.
The bombing of Darwin was not widely known in the rest of the country. Indeed, the news was kept very quiet during the war.
My father and his two little sisters were living with their uncles at Perak Camp, which is Stewart Park, and he was actually watching the Japanese fighters strafing. He said they were like silver bullets, and he said they were so low he could actually see the eyes of the pilots. So you can imagine the noise and the terror with his sisters screaming and people just scattering everywhere.
Today, the bombing of Darwin Day stands alongside Anzac Day and Remembrance Day as a testimony to the grit of Australia's people and the bravery of the nation's most northern city. Lest we forget.
First Nations TV, your news first.